Good morning, and welcome to All Souls. My name is David McLean, and I'm a long-term member here at All Souls. Joining me in the chancel this morning is our Assistant Minister, Reverend Pamela Patton. It's a joy to be here with you this morning in the sanctuary and from wherever you're joining us over live stream. We're a spiritual community here at All Souls and a welcoming and inclusive community of friends and members. If you're new or visiting this morning, we welcome you, and we love to know a little bit about you. So there is, or should be, a card in the rack in front of you, and you can use the QR code or fill out the paper form or the card and put it in the offering plate or the box in the vestibule. Please join Pamela and our Manager of Membership and Spiritual Care, Gretchen Gabrielson, for All Souls in 20 minutes immediately after the service. If you'd like to participate, feel free to come to the chancel to spend a few minutes chatting about All Souls so we can get to know you and you can get to know a little bit about All Souls. Families with children and youth are always welcome in our sanctuary. Crying babies are part of the musical repertoire here. We also have a nursery, though, and religious education programming downstairs most Sundays, so feel free to use those. Coffee hour follows the service. Down 2 flights of stairs through the vestibule. Coffee hour is also accessible by taking the ramp outside there and the elevator. And if you have trouble finding them, you can just ask someone to guide you to one or the other. Today, the Women's Alliance is hosting coffee hour, and I was told to mention specifically that strawberry shortcake will be served. The Women's Alliance is a community of over 100 women based here at All Souls who try to embody Unitarian Universalist values. They're always delighted to welcome new members. Young adults are invited to join the Young Adults Bagel Brunch today at coffee hour. During coffee hour as well, we'll have a table where you can get assistance with voting for the Ministerial Search Committee members or candidates. This is your opportunity to select who will best serve the congregation in choosing the next minister to lead All Souls into the future. The vote closes tomorrow. You should know that. There's a board meeting at 1 p.m. today. All persons in attendance are welcome to attend that meeting. General Assembly will soon be upon us. GA is the annual meeting of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and we encourage you to participate. The reduced registration fee ends on April 30th, so you might want to hurry. For questions, please reach out to Reverend Elaine or Pamela. We'd love to stay connected with you during the week. We have events happening online most every day. If you're not on our mailing list, please let us know at info@allsouls.org. allsoulsnyc.org, so we can keep you informed about everything that's happening here. One thing I just skipped over, Pamela will be preaching next week. It will be part 2 of the sermon that she's preaching today, and we're looking forward to hearing both parts of her sermon. Okay, so now please silence your electronic devices, pacemakers excluded. We also invite you to quiet your hearts and minds as we prepare for the call to worship. For our chalice reading lighting this morning, we have a responsive reading number 440, which is also printed in your order of service. So it's number 440. And it's responsive, so you get to do your part here. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness. Yet we know that no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all. We would hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworn and the false. Let us labor in hope for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice.
Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that has shone in the lives of the greatest of visionaries, the rays of whose lamps still illumine our way.
In this spirit we gather. In this spirit we pray. And now for opening words by Aaron Setzening.
Good morning. My name is Aaron Sensenig. I've been singing with the All Souls Choir since the virtual year, where the whole choir was submitting singing tapes recorded in our closets, trying to get a complete take between a siren or the radiator hissing. I also serve as the artistic operations manager, making sure our music operations run smoothly and our artists feel cared for. I had some close, lifelong friends attend our Easter service a few weeks ago. We grew up in, and have all since moved away from, Calvinist Christian communities with highly systematic theologies. Systems of thought wrestled with and codified over the centuries by men mostly named John. At Easter brunch, after the service, one of my friends asked, sincerely and with curiosity, how this Unitarian Universalist community could talk about higher ideals like justice and love without having a singular, unifying, absolute, capital T truth, like the God we grew up with. I completely understood his question. Walking into this place all those years ago, I honestly had a hard time drawing meaning from it. It didn't feature the fixed anchor points I was used to mooring a spiritual life to. I had been shaped to expect religious spaces that were highly defined containers of someone else's construction with a clear spiritual endpoint for everyone in the room and a detailed map of how to reach it. Even though I had already moved away from many of the core beliefs I was raised on, I was still reorienting my relationship with mystery. All Souls was my first consistent model of a community showing up on Sunday to be still, to think deeply, to witness mystery, to experience beauty, and to be together. No need to be right, just open. A place actively learning from the borderless tapestry of wisdom that unfolds across traditions. Back at Easter brunch, my response to my friend was this. My time here had taught me that this pursuit of love and justice is immensely brave and deeply true, precisely because these ideals are not inherited or prescribed in relation to some fixed origin point. There's no single truth or eternal reward compelling that choice, only a shared commitment to keep choosing love as the center point of an embodied spiritual practice. And witnessing that ongoing choice here, for me, at All Souls, has become very grounding. I'm honored to learn from you, and honored to serve in the capacity that I do. Analog, in-person, or at least real-time for those joining online, communities where people come together to share in stillness, in singing, in chit-chat, weathering the tides of transition and debate and conflict and resolution and restoration are increasingly important to our world. Thank you for modeling the choice to be here, together, witnessing mystery, choosing love. I'm so grateful for this community and for you, truly. And now please rise, in body or in spirit, to recite the bond of union. In the freedom of the truth and in the spirit of love, we unite for the worship of God and the service of all.
Our opening hymn is number 86 this morning, number 86 in your hymnal.
Good morning. Our story today comes from a book called Kindness, a treasury of Buddhist wisdom for children and their parents. So in a time long, long ago, in a place far, far away, in a small village, traveling through was a monk, and he was the Buddha, and he had all of his monks and nuns with him. He had a large following. They were a pretty big group. But they found a beautifully large shade tree, and they decided to stop there and rest a while. And while they were resting, Buddha often took this time to do some teaching, and so he began to speak. As he was speaking, a large crowd from the village came out and gathered around. And there was one very angry young person in town who came as well and stood at the back, crossed his arms, and was very angry. And finally, when he had a moment, he said, "I want you to go away. You shouldn't be here. You come here and you say pretty things, and then you want food and money." Well, Buddha, of course exuding the loving kindness that he does, says, "Young person, please come forward so I can talk to you more directly." And so he did, arms still crossed, marched up to the front of the crowd, looked with his furrowed brow. And Buddha said, "I have a question for you. If you bought a beautiful gift and gave it to someone, but they refused it, who does it then belong to?" Well, the young man didn't know what to do about that. He undid his arms and he thought for a second. He said, "Well, it's my gift. It's mine. I bought it, so it returns to me." Buddha said, "Exactly." So, what you know now is that I am not angry with you. What you have given me, I give back to you. So the young man realized, and he bowed to the Buddha, and he said, "Thank you," and sat down with the rest of the group. And so Buddha then continued on with his teaching and said, "This is a lesson for all of us. Remember all of the acts and words that you use. Be them for good. They will reflect like the reflection in a pond from the sky, or the reflection from a mirror. If they're angry or unkind, that will return to you as well." Here ends our story. Please join me now in singing our children to their programs. The words are in your order of service.
Our reading this morning comes from the poet Raina Maria Rilke, from the Book of Hours, Love Poems to God. God speaks to each of us as God makes us, then walks with us silently out of the night. These are the words we dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me. Flare up like a flame and make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is the country they call life. You will know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand.
Du meine Seele, du mein Herz, du meine Wohnung, du mein Schmerz, du meine Welt, in der ich lebe, mein Himmel, du, darein ich schwebe, und du mein Grab, in das hinab ich ewig deinem Kummer gab. Du bist die Ruhe, du bist der Frieden, du bist von Himmel mir beschieden, dass du mich liebst, macht mich mir wert, dein Blick hat mich vor mir verklärt, du hebst mich liebend über mich, mein guter Geist, mein besseres Glück. Du meine Seele, du mein Herz, du meine Wohnung, du mein Schmerz, du meine Welt, in der ich lebe, mein Himmel, du, darein ich lebe, mein guter Geist, mein besseres Ich.
This morning, I'm going to offer you a type of meditation called RAIN, R-A-I-N. It was developed by meditation teachers Michelle McDonald and Tara Brach. Tara Brach is one of the most beloved American Buddhist teachers. I'm sure many of you know her. And she grew up Unitarian Universalist. So on June 6th, here in the sanctuary in the morning, it's a Saturday, we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Mindfulness Meditation Buddhism program here, which I'm really delighted to be doing, and Tara Brach is coming up from Washington to be our speaker that day. I hope you all will join us if you can. We'd love to have you here. We already have 100 people, over 100, close to 150 people registered, so many of whom are coming from outside All Souls. So we need you all to meet them and encourage them and tell them about All Souls. So please do join us that day. You can look for information about it in your email and elsewhere. So the acronym RAIN stands for Recognize and Allow, and then Investigate, and finally Nurture. It's a way of applying mindfulness, which means having the ability to choose in any given moment how you behave or speak or think, and compassion, which is for emotional suffering of others and ourselves, in the reverse order, ourselves and others. It can be helpful to know this meditation and just use a little bit of it if you like it when you're having a difficult time, maybe having some trouble finding your way home to be grounded again. So let's settle in for a moment. If you'd like to close your eyes, please do. Settle your body, sensing where it's unsettled, and seeing if you can let go a little bit. And I'd like to invite you to bring to mind a moment of anger. Not the worst anger of your life by any means, but choosing something that feels manageable. Maybe something that happened recently so you can bring the experience to life for yourself easily. Maybe somebody cut you off, or dismissed you, or
said something that landed in a hard way for you. Or maybe you felt a rush of exasperation or frustration over the news. So try to bring a specific moment to mind. And as you do, as it begins to clarify for you, notice what happens in your body. And now first, R for recognize. Simply name what is happening. You might say silently to yourself, frustration, annoyance, tightness, heat. This is not to analyze it. It's really not to figure out why. It's just to sense what's present. Anger is here. The second step is A, allow. And it's a lot harder than it sounds. Allowing doesn't mean that you approve of what made you angry or that you're going to stay here in anger. It means you're just going to stop for a moment fighting the feeling of anger. You're just going to let it be here a little bit without pushing it away, without winding it up. You might silently say to yourself, there's nothing I'm going to do about this right now except feel what happens in my body when I stop bracing against anger. And now investigate. Bring a gentle and intimate curiosity to what's happening. Again, focusing on your body. Where is the anger? Is it in your jaw? Your chest? Your hands? What does it actually feel like? Not the story that you're telling yourself or the conversation you may be tempted to repeat, but the raw physical sensation. The heat of it, the heaviness. And finally, the last step is N, nurture. Locating where you feel the anger most strongly, either abstractly or physically. It could be your heart. It could be your chest. If you want to put a hand there to sense it more, you can. And just offering yourself what you would offer a friend, someone you love who is struggling with anger. You might say, this is hard, I'm here, it's okay. You're not fixing anything. You're not making the anger disappear. You're just keeping yourself company in it. And now take a deep breath and notice what's here. Notice if the anger has shifted at all or is fully present. Notice if maybe there's a little more space around it, maybe less urgency, or maybe not. Just notice. And let's take one more breath together in closing the meditation. And come back together. And now, shake it up, stand up, and we'll join in singing hymn number 181.
This community, this living, breathing congregation exists because of care, because of generosity, because of the willingness of each of us to say, this matters. I want to help it thrive. The offering we give today is one expression of that commitment. It supports the music that moves us, the learning that shapes us, the care that holds us, and the justice work that calls us outward and into the world. And Elaine would be very upset with me if I didn't mention that May 1st is coming, and you probably heard from her about May 1st, so I won't belabor that now. Do what you can. So in giving this morning, may we do so with gratitude for what has been, for what is, and for what is still possible. We welcome your gifts in the offering plate, which will be circulated shortly, or by the QR code in your order of service, or on your screen if you're joining us by live stream.
Amen.
There's a story that Tibetan Buddhist teachers like to tell. There's a hermit living alone in the mountains, meditating in a cave, sort of the quintessential picture of the guru on top of the mountain. And one day a herdsman passes by and calls out, "Hey, what are you doing up here all alone?" "I'm meditating," says the hermit. "On what?" "I'm developing a peaceful mind, a steady, non-reactive mind." There's a pause. The herdsman nods, and he turns to leave. Then he looks back over his shoulder at the hermit and shouts, "Hey, go to hell." Comes right back at him, "You go to hell." The herdsman laughed and walked away. He'd made his point. The hermit is attempting to develop an unperturbable mindset. And it may have seemed like it was going pretty well until another human being came along. Tibetan Buddhism uses the term forbearance or patience for when we're able to maintain a peaceful mindset in the midst of provocation. To be clear, forbearance is not meekness. It's not submission. It's not accepting harm. Some situations don't offer us a choice, and we just survive them. Forbearance is for the moments when we do have a choice, and we're tempted to allow anger to make that choice for us. When we're disturbed by anger, we don't see a choice in how we behave or how we speak. We just blurt, or we blow up, or we shove it down because it's unbearable. We lose the power and intelligent thinking we've spent our entire lives developing. We forget how we're rooted, feet on the ground, capable, decisive. It's not possible not to feel anger. The question is, how do we respond to those feelings? Even the Dalai Lama says, like anyone else, I too have anger in me. He was once asked, "How do you control the anger in your life?" And he answered by describing a time when he was younger. He would express anger a lot with shouts and demands. In fact, he says he's given to anger. Then, in his early 20s, he witnessed something that enabled him to see the destructive impact of his anger. The Dalai Lama inherited a car from his predecessor, the 13th Dalai Lama, and there were very few cars in Lhasa at the time where he lived because Tibet had barely any drivable roads. So this car was given as a gift, and it had to be taken apart, shipped, and reassembled. As you can imagine, it was wonky between the shipping and the lousy roads. It didn't work very well, and nobody really knew how to drive it or repair it anyway, because there were so few cars. But one lovely Tibetan man took it on for himself and kind of became the expert on the car. The Dalai Lama is a very curious person, especially about mechanics and science, so he used to like to watch the mechanic work on the car so he could learn about how it all fit together. One day this man was underneath the car repairing it. Anybody who's done that, I have, you know it's a pretty claustrophobic experience, and it's hard unless you have a pit, but I'm sure he didn't. As he rolled out from underneath the car, he hit his head on the fender, and out of frustration, he started banging his head on the car over and over. Instead of consoling himself and treating the injury, he just kept banging his head. And while the Dalai Lama watched this, he had a realization of how we lose our minds when we're angry. The Dalai Lama suddenly saw the foolishness of his own shouts, the way in which he'd been expressing his anger to the world. So many decades later, he continues to teach frequently about how to experience and respect anger without allowing it to overtake our minds. He talks about how he senses anger arise, takes the time to observe it, to allow it to diminish, and then responds. He has trained his mind so he is never hijacked by anger. He is always making a choice When he feels difficult emotions arise, he's deciding how to respond in a wholesome and thoughtful way. He understands something that the writer and teacher Ruth King names. Anger is initiatory, not transformative. So what happens when our minds are hijacked, like the mechanic underneath the car? Psychiatrist Daniel Siegel illustrates this by using his hand as a model of the brain. So if you make a fist, if you want to try it yourself, you make a fist with your thumb on the inside, and this is your brain when it's working. Your fingers are the part that thinks, that regulates your emotions, that makes moral judgments, that lets you make a choice about how you speak or you act, or even how you think. Now, if you lift your fingers up, your thumb inside is the emotionally reactive part of your brain, the part that fires the fight or flight response. So when your fingers are down, the thinking brain keeps your emotional reactions in check. It senses them and it decides how to behave. And when anger hits and gets kind of lit up, the fingers fly up, and then the emotional brain is running the show and nothing's tempering it. Siegel calls it flipping your lid. Without the lid, you lose the emotional balance. You lose the empathy, the reasoning, the ability to choose. You're the mechanic, one way or another, banging his head against the car. Some neuroanatomists report that the surge of anger, in which the amygdala, the thumb, is lit up, lasts 90 seconds. That's how long they say our body's chemistry is keeping us on full alert. So I think of it like this. For 90 seconds, the lid is up. The thinking brain is trying to come back online, and if I can just ride those 90 seconds without reacting, without adding a story, the fingers come back down. 90 seconds can feel like forever, but we can develop our tolerance for it with practice. If we can pause, allow the anger to surge, and hold off on reacting, we can take care of our minds. You might be thinking, well, my anger does not last 90 seconds, it's a lot longer, and in some cases, it feels indefinite if there's sort of a meta anger about something or someone. Well, the reason it lasts so long is that we're fueling it with our stories, our blame. We're perpetuating it with behavior that keeps the anger burning, engaged. We're effectively keeping the physiological response at full blast because we're piling on. There is a Buddhist image in which the mind is often compared to a drunken monkey, swinging from tree to tree. When I first ventured into learning meditation, a teacher gave us some basic instructions. I went to a beginner's class, and he said, for the next 10 minutes, and I'll let you know when it's over, so I'll hold the space for you, I want you to just focus on your breath and count with each breath on the exhale to 10. So 1, 2, and just count up to 10, and when you hit 10, count back down again to 1, and so on. And if you lose track, your mind wanders, just come back to 1 and start over, no big deal. So it felt like forever, the 10 minutes, forever. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I think I may have gotten to 4, maybe 3. It's tough. It's tough not to wander off with our minds. So after 10 minutes, time was up, and he said, I have a new exercise for you. He wanted us to think about something that annoys us, or frustrates us, or angers us, and just let our minds blissfully wander in whatever the story is for 10 minutes. We were free to ponder, blame, revenge, wherever our minds took us. The minutes flew by. My righteous monkey mind just sat on a comfy branch, content, waiting it out. The hard part was disengaging when the 10 minutes were up, because I had more thinking to do. The teacher had made his point. Notice that the teacher didn't give any instructions like we did in the meditation this morning. We weren't invited to feel the anger in our bodies, to investigate it, to companion ourselves through it. It was just let the mind be the boss. Think about anger, annoyance, whatever you feel like. There's a Zen parable of two monks, an elder and a novice monk, walking when they come to a river. A woman is standing there and she needs help crossing, so the elder monk picks her up, carries her across the river, and sets her down. The two monks continue walking in silence, and after several hours, the young monk says to the elder, "How could you have done that? We're not supposed to touch women." The elder monk says, "I set her down at the river. You're still carrying her." The young monk's anger is stuck in the narrative he's constructed over hours and hours of walking, reviewing his outrage, fueling his outrage, allowing his mind to give the strong feelings of anger more and more energy. Meanwhile, the elder monk saw someone who needed help, didn't really think about the rules because in this case he could help. He carried her, he set her down, he kept walking. He didn't add a story, he didn't build defenses to justify it, not even when he was confronted about it. So how do we disengage from anger? How do we avoid flipping our lids? We pause. It's not always easy to do in the moment, so we have to practice. But the idea is we let ourselves in our body feel the anger. This is completely different from ruminating. It means letting the anger be there, the heat, the tightness, whatever it is, giving it full attention and tolerating the super uncomfortable feelings that come. If we can just allow ourselves to feel and watch the anger for 90 seconds, no fueling it, no stories, no he said, she said, we can disengage from the hijacking and proceed with perspective. When you stub your toe on the sofa and you look for the culprit who moved the sofa into your path, or you call yourself an idiot, this is an opportunity to pause, see the conditions for what they are, no one to blame, just ride out the toe pain, ride out the frustration. It won't last long. Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh refers to the pause as tending to your own burning house instead of chasing the arsonist that's fleeing the scene. We tend to chase the arsonist because the urgency of anger takes over and distracts us from what will actually help, which is tending to the fire. Letting the urgency of the anger dictate our reaction is the path of least resistance. It's very tempting. But the house is burning down. By pausing, we let the fire of the anger subside, and then we see, okay, what really happened here, and what do I need to do next? Years ago, I was driving to see my best friend who lived in Boston. She was very sick with cancer, and I knew that I'd probably only see her a couple more times. My kids were young. It was difficult to get away for a few days. I was pretty frantic, trying to rally up things to make sure they'd be okay and preparing my heart and my mind to be with my friend who also had young children the same age as mine. I was on my way up to Boston and I was stopped at a toll booth on the Mass Pike. There was a lot of traffic and we weren't really moving. So I picked up my phone to text my friend and say, "I'm running late." While I was doing that, somehow I slightly eased my foot off the brake, and the car inched forward and bumped the person in front of me. It was startling because I was not really thinking about the car very much, and within a millisecond I imagined this big, mean man getting out of the car in front of me, swinging open his door, coming over to me, all huffing and puffing, all red, calling me an idiot. I was steeling myself for it. What was I going to say? I had messed up. I did feel like an idiot. I was also pretty much of a wreck as I anticipated seeing my friend. And then I caught sight of the driver in front of me. He wasn't getting out of the car, he was sitting right there, and he was looking in his rearview mirror at me. He was smiling, and he was wagging his finger gently. It was salvific for me. I was so relieved that no one was yelling at me. But it was so much more than that. I had this realization. I realized that if I had been in his shoes and somebody had bumped me from behind, I would have called them an idiot. I would have sat in my car and I would have shook my head and done the arm thing so they could see me through the window, knowing I was exasperated, what was up with them. My anger arising is a warning sign. It's telling me, here comes a juicy opportunity to teach someone a lesson. Instead, I can do what that driver did for me. Take a breath and respond like a person who has a choice. That driver at the toll booth didn't flip his lid. He wagged his finger, he smiled, and he let me go. He set me free. Please rise and join in singing hymn number 6. Please be seated. As we extinguish the light of our chalice, we carry the fire of commitment and the love of this community with us always. And now in our going, may love bless us and keep us. May the light of love shine upon us and out from within us and be gracious unto us and give us peace. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.